Now we're in the greenhouse. I had a good clear up before I went. Took all the cucumbers down and all of my peppers and my chilies, apart from these fellas, because they are still doing a bit of ripening. They probably will be okay on my windowsill as well. But I've had tons of chilies. I've been making sriracha at home. I might even talk you through that a bit later on, but it's very easy. So I find sriracha easy fermented sauce with garlic and a bit of salt and sugar is a really great thing for us. We use it. There's no point making things that you're not really going to use. Now I've just I planted these rocket and mustards about maybe 8 weeks ago as seeds. Yeah, 8 weeks ago. It takes us probably to the end of August, September, October. Yeah, 8 weeks ago, end of September. And so I've decided to put some outside and some inside. Well, I've got some low tunnels, which I'll take you to, which aren't doing as well. But now that I've emptied the greenhouse, I thought, well, I've got these low troughs, which seem perfect, really. They just fit onto the top bench. I have got growing space down below, but it gets very shady. And so now that the light conditions are going to drop down, I'm not sure that anything will do okay. But if I run out of space and I've got my spinach seedlings some spare, I'm going to put those in the bottom here as well, so we can just see, compare, see how they go in the low tunnels and in the this is like a new greenhouse to me. I put this in late spring, so it's been growing all summer and been doing really well. But I haven't seen how it goes over winter. I cleaned up the glass a little bit because it was going pretty green like that after so many plants being in here in the sunlight. Yeah, so you can see these are doing really well. I can take a crop off of this today and just leave the smaller leaves. And these mustards, although they're quite strong, they are really great to just chop up and put into soups. I have a lot of instant noodles, and so my ramen just has these sort of things thrown in at the top and just literally left to wilt a bit, and you can eat them like that. So a mixture of things, really. This is the red frills. Yeah, a lot of so mixture. I'll put these big ones because they do get quite big. These broadleaf mustards will actually get double the size of that, given the right growing conditions. But as you can see, I've got quite a lot of rocket. I've got some other ones to put in today. So I'm going to fill up these other troughs because I've run out of those troughs. So I'm going to I've got these baskets and I'm just going to put a liner in there because this has worked really well before. And I've got a bag of compost. I've tried so many different composts this year, but I've just got Jack's Magic on the go, so I'm just going to use that. I've got a lot of homemade compost, but the chances of there being a lot of weed seeds in it might be high. I'm not sure because we've made a hell of a lot this year and we're just starting to spread it around the garden. So this is what Dad's plot's looking like at the moment. Well, I don't know what he's done, but he does things his way. I do mine the no dig way. So I've just been kind of trying to guide him to just put the compost on top, which is what I've done. And as you can see, I had a bit of a clear up before I went, but we've got a lot of slug damage. There's a little one on there now, and I get a lot of these little black slugs. We're on like quite a sort of loamy, heavy clay soil. So, I mean, it's good. It produces a lot of good greens and holds some moisture, but the slugs love it as well, I find, because it doesn't drain off very well. But these are my kind of overwintering kind of cabbages. 2 different varieties in here, and I wish I could tell you exactly what they were, but I've got some new ones for this year and I'm not that prepared today to tell you exactly what they are. So when I upload, I'll probably put it on the screen. The parsnips have done very well. Got quite a lot in here, and they need a bit of thinning out, really. But I've started to take a few from the middle row. These were the second lot that I grew, so they were way behind, maybe 4 weeks behind. They're again, can't remember the variety, but one of them is a common one, the common one that people go, Gladiator. There you go, Gladiator. And there's another one, white something. So this is a bed I've already spread with my homemade compost, and just got a few overwintering onions now that I've taken my French beans out from here. And we've got some fennel, which was looking like it was bulbing up quite well. So this little section here is for the fennel. I had my squash along the back here, took those out. They've all been wrapped up and they're storing. But the bulbs, fennel bulbs, I think they're coming along all right. I mean, I don't know. I think this is a bit like touch and go. You've got to get these at the right time because of heavy frost, and they might just turn to jelly. But I mean, looking at that, that's a pretty good bulb, isn't it? That's a pretty good sized bulb. So we'll start picking that pretty soon. Dad built me this. It's like trying to be a slug proof growing on kind of phase cage to just protect from the birds and everything and the butterflies when you're growing on you especially your brassicas, and you want to keep them off the ground, because we didn't have anything really. All of the previous cold frames that I had were low down, and then the slugs would just get in and munch everything. I mean, just what's the point of that? So I've got a lot of weeds to come back to. But that was expected, because at the allotment here you can see, I mean, they don't keep the grass very short, and a lot of people just let a lot of weeds grow, and so you're going to get a bit of a blow in, especially because I've got the southwesterly predominant wind which comes across, and I'm at the top here. So we're going to have some sort of oh, hello friend, where you try and keep the birds out, and then you get little monsters that find their way in. These are some kalettes that I've got in here, but I've got a whole, I mean, these was a few spare, I think, so I just put them in there. Have my French beans, taken those down, tall ones. Got a couple of, I think these are purple sprouting, but again, this is bird damage because I put a net on there, but they can still just land on it and start picking away. And again, these are a bit of an experiment to see if I can take away the netting and just have a bird net to see the difference. So yeah, some smaller kales there that I'm hoping are going to overwinter and come good in the spring. But again, some purple sprouting. These should be okay by the time by the time maybe December comes, hopefully. This is my cage that Dad built, and although it seemed really tall at the time, as you can see from the top here, that the kalettes have just been bulging out from the top. So we're but we can't do anything about that now. But it's got a door and a net, and so it's been really good to keep butterflies out. Trouble is, I planted 9 plants in here thinking at the time that they were tiny and it's going to be perfect, but I have to keep going in there and taking all the lower leaves off to just create a bit of space, but which I will do again today. But we've got some really nice kalettes forming on there. So I mean, these ones I could probably start picking now, because I've got 10-11 plants, Dad's got another 10 plants. So between us, I mean, we're going to have, like, if you don't start picking now, you just suddenly have a glut and then they're over. So it's best to keep, just picking away at them and using them, because there's not that much in the garden now anyway that's really great food value. My Swedes, as you saw, they were pretty good. We took the best of them, and then they started to get a bit eaten. Well, I had a few things going on. First of all, I had a net on top of here, and there was so much leaf that they started to get a bit of botrytis, a bit of kind of like that white covering, and look a bit poorly. So I took the net off and I sprayed them. I thought, well, that's because there's lack of airflow in there. So I just, after I sprayed them, I let them grow on again. But then because I didn't have a net on them, and I didn't realise that Swedes really suffer, they're a brassica, and they do suffer like anything else from the cabbage whites. So I had hundreds and hundreds of cabbage whites land on these, but they didn't stop them actually you know, it didn't kill them. It just, they suffered a bit and they started sprouting all of these new leaves, which made them grow really, really kind of long. So, I mean, there is some food left in these, but I don't find swede that easy to grow. I mean, I just need a bit more practice really to get nice round, because I've seen other people give them maybe more space and not restrict them by having a net on the top. Makes a difference, because otherwise then they just end up with you know, they have to kind of lie over, and when they start lying over, that's when you get the funny shape in there. Planted a new plum tree, new to me. It was actually on sale in the garden centre, and it looked really healthy in the roots, so it's got some new little buds, or promise of little buds coming. It's a Mirabelle Ruby plum. I took out 2 small pear trees here which were rotten, and they were very close together, so this one's got an optimum growing area here. This is Dad's kind of plot, the way he's got it organised in there. Raspberries obviously just doing their own thing. Leeks, let's have a quick look. Does need weeding, so just have to give me the excuse that I've been away and everything's just taken off. So we've got, you know, these are the blue type. See, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but there's something blue. I did try and grow a second batch of a smaller squash, and at the moment they've only just got to this stage, so I don't think they're going to make anything. I mean, I'm surprised they haven't died over already, but as I say, we haven't had any really cold temperatures. But it's a bit of an experiment, as in the last date that I could actually put in a squash or something from the curcubant family, and these are the rest of my leeks. Now, believe it or not, well, you may believe it if you know this already, but this whole row here, before I put the squash in, was full of leeks, and and they got eaten. You know, they were all the same size for some reason, whatever came. But we've got a grassy area at the back here, which is always like a bit of a danger zone, because you know, if the council leave this to grow long, then things just kind of just can hide and then crawl in overnight. So I think that's what happened, is that all of these ones just got eaten down, and they were quite substantial sort of plants, but I didn't think like slugs even bothered with anything from the allium family, but obviously do. I've got some netted areas here. They were meant to be my carrots, but they failed because they did come up and then the slugs just ate them all down. So, I mean, I think it's because this area has got quite a lot of wooden sides, wooden area here. It's slightly shaded. So, yeah, just going to rethink that for next year. These are Dad's calets. Again, they're quite tall. That's about 4 foot tall. I think it's a really valuable thing to grow. I mean, he's got a few sprouts because he does like a sprout, as you know, a proper sprout. But I find the calets are easier to grow. Just coming up here. Now we've made so much. This is all what I had to empty from my compost bins in order to fill them up again. And these 3 big bays are full again. So it's gone down a tiny bit since I've been away, so that's good. But basically, they're pretty big bays, and they will need turning once, but they're filled up now. Not sure what I'm going to find in here, but I've got some low tunnels. This one doesn't look like it's been getting enough ventilation, so I need to prop it up a little bit, but we'll just have a quick look to see. And there you go. Like, this is the difference in a low tunnel. These were put in earlier, and they're not doing bad really, because again, rocket, you're saying Christ, she likes rocket, but if this is the only thing that you can really grow successfully that you eat over winter, you know, there's no point in me growing tons of mustards, because nobody really likes them. They find them too strong in a salad. I can't just use them as a vegetable, so You know, we've got some fussy eaters, but they will eat rocket with a lovely oily sort of honey dressing. Everything tastes delicious with an oily honey dressing, doesn't it? So anyway, there's the difference, is that they're slightly behind in the low tunnel compared to, because you haven't got the light, I guess. You haven't got the light, maybe you haven't got the same heat build up during the day, although these have definitely been getting hot, otherwise they wouldn't have made so much condensation in here. But yeah, just having a little go with some different things just to see what's going to do well. Again, these low tunnels, it's amazing how green these have got just since I've been away, because I guess the light levels or something have dropped. Got a couple of cauliflowers that we're just going to see if they do anything and produce anything over spring, and some spare spinach plants and a little bit of radicchio, and which seems to be doing okay. So I quite like taking the little leaves of these radicchio and just adding them to different salads. You know, they give those strong flavours are actually really good for you. Here you might recognise, they're like, I don't know, 12 foot tall or something. These are my Jerusalem artichokes, which I've taken some from, and I made my first batch of lovely soup. I can't actually quote the person that I copied off of YouTube, but I looked at lots of recipes, and it was a very simple recipe, and I found it delicious. I mean, I tried roasting these and I found them a little bit, they soaked up a lot of oil and they became like a puffy little donut, which wasn't that pleasant really. So I'm finding new ways, because it is a very easy food to grow, and they do, as you can see, it's broken out of what I thought was containing it, but it's broken out, so that needs to be a lot deeper. In fact, I probably will just fence in this area here, like, you know, just block it off so they don't travel anymore. But does very well here, so I'm not gonna stop growing it, just find new ways to use it. Here it's a bit of an overgrowth, do need to have a clear out with these taberries. This framework's just about supporting it, so a couple of years time I'll probably just have to redo this whole thing. But the abundance of taberries usually, and the calendula are doing really well. I just leave them go. I mean, they've spread about the place, and they will continue to spread about, especially if I just let them go all to seed. But they are a delight. I mean, on a November's day, when you've got all these beautiful flowers, I mean, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? So again, you never know what you're going to get. We had hard frost 2 years ago. We had heavy hard frost, prolonged frost that killed things in my home garden that I never thought would die, like a couple of Acer palmatums. Here are the chard, and they keep going. I mean, they did start to go to seed, and I just cut the seed head off, and then it's threw up some new leaves at the bottom. So if you can keep your chard going, then don't discard it, because I mean, that's good food right there. And you know, I do use these. I think chard is a very versatile thing. So as you know, it is quite easy to grow compared to spinach. I find it's quite easy to go once you get it going. Behind that is some celeriac. Now these have made quite good ugly, like let me just try and show you relative to my 4-finger span. Yeah, so I mean, they're a fair size. There's a bit underground as well, and I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do about leaving these in the ground and how long for. You know, is it until they get eaten, or is it until the heavy frost comes? I don't know how resilient they are, or like I say, we just have to keep an eye on the weather. I've tidied these up once. I mean, they do get a little bit of sluggy damage on the leaves, funny enough. You know, like they do tend to burrow in there and have a go. I'm not quite sure what that is, but something likes them, but at least it's leaving the actual bulbs alone. I've got a bit of celery left in the ground. It's the smaller ones, but you know, I will still take these and make a nice stock soup and this kind of thing. It's a valuable thing, and once you get celery going, it's pretty easy. A bit more chard. Little bit of rhubarb, could take some rhubarb. There are some new shoots. I don't think it's that tasty this time of year, but you could always make some kimchi or something like that. Fermented rhubarb is very good. And this was a bit of an experiment in this low tunnel as well, with a second growing of some small beetroots, which, you know, you probably say, oh, they look like they're doing all right. Whether they'll bulb up or not, I don't know. So we'll just have to see if they survive the winter, if they bulb up before the end of the winter. Then we've got Mizuna at the back there, but that's another favourite. I mean, Mizuna is so mild and yummy, and again, it can wilt very easily on the top of any food. You know, you could chop it up and put it on your noodles, on your rice, or in your soup, or in, you know, whatever you like to eat. You can add some greens by using the very easy to grow Mizuna. A couple of pak choi, which were doing a bit better than that, but there's a couple there, and they've slowed down quite a bit now. But I sometimes take leaves off them rather than trying to make them for. I've never been able to grow them into a really big bulb. You know, they either go to seed when it's warm, or when it's cooler they don't make a big bulb. So I don't know, I'm just still experimenting with you know, growing a bigger pak choi. We're nearly there, nearly to the end of our little tour. Again, some mustards, some red frills, mustard, some this is a different type of rocket. It was a more peppery, more winter type of rocket that was slower growing. So yeah, we're just filling up these low tunnels as much as we can with things while we're going into the winter. I've left my asparagus. It has, this is year 2, so I planted it in the spring last year, and this is year 2, so I'm hoping it does a bit better than that. So let me know what you're doing in your garden, if anything's been of use. I haven't planted my garlic yet, although I will do. I have ordered it and it will be here soon, so I probably am a little bit behind, but given the mild conditions, I don't think it really matters when you get it in the ground at the moment. So you've probably got the whole of November to do that. And yeah, I've ordered 8 big bulbs, for 2 of each of 4 different types. And so, well, I like to have plenty of garlic, because you're always going to have some failures and some smaller cloves. So yeah, have a good weekend. I'll see you next time.